everyone, welcome back to my Earth Friendly Kitchen. I'm Maria, your host. If you don't recognize me, it's because I got a haircut. New cut, who this? Just kidding. If you're in North Jersey, please check out Sophie's in Cranford. They are great. Christine Perez is the owner. She's wonderful. You'll get a good curly cut if you have curly hair, or you'll get a great cut if you don't. So, anyways, more than that. Today we are making a butternut squash wild rice holiday side. It's holiday season around here. It is nice and cool outside. Sometimes it's very cold, but you know, anything that can really warm you up and get super cozy. I love all the fall flavors, and butternut squash is one of them. So we're gonna start. This is gonna be kind of like a two-parter. We're gonna start this because this is gonna take a little bit of time to cook, and then we're gonna come back and put it all together. Okay, so I know I always complain about chopping up butternut squash, and that's why, because they're a little bit tough, but that's okay, because you know what, you want to try to get it as fresh as possible. And unless you're buying them already cubed, which you can do, but the problem with that is that they're usually more expensive when you get them cubed, as opposed to getting it by itself and then just doing the work. So you just want to go around the butternut squash and take off the ends, or the outer shell, right? And it leaves you, look at this color. It's just so beautiful. I love it. And then just slice it down. Now I got a pretty small one, but inside the big, like more round bottom part, you're going to find the seeds, okay? Obviously be very careful when you do this. Odd shaped vegetables always give you an increased risk of cutting yourself. But you want to cut all the seeds out as two. And the small one usually has pretty small seeds, so I'm not going to roast them. I did get that tip the other day from one of my viewers where they said they love roasting butternut squash seeds. I've actually never done that. I usually do pumpkin seeds, which you probably saw in one of my other videos that I posted recently. But butternut squash seeds I've never done. But the smaller ones like this are going to have pretty small seeds, so I'm probably not going to be able to do it with these little guys like this. So you just want to kind of scoop out the seeds. Actually, probably better off for me to get a spoon to do that. Just gut it out. And then this will all go in the compost. So, you know, this recipe is something that I found years ago. So we do a potluck every year at my job, and I've been at this job for almost 10 years. And in that potluck, they asked me to make this every single year. I'm like, guys, I cook a lot of food. I know how to make things. They're like, no, we want your wild rice, because it is a big hit every year. And I've handed the recipe out to numerous people. So now I'm handing it out to you. So I'm just going to get all that there. So nice and clean. And then we're just going to chop these up into cubes, because we're going to roast them. We want them to be nice bite-sized pieces. And my oven has already been preheated to 400 degrees Fahrenheit. And then we're going to roast them for about 30 minutes or so. It's kind of a small squash though, so maybe a little bit less. I'm just going to have to keep time on it, but it'll roast while our rice is cooking. Now, wild rice tends to be a little bit longer of a cook time as well, as opposed to white rice, where the outer shell has basically been removed, and you don't have that, you know, same like husk on the outside of the rice bit, rice bit, that's a rice grain. That the wild rice usually has a little bit tougher outer shells because they have the whole grain attached to it. So it does take a little bit longer. So traditionally, you know, white rice could take you anywhere from 20 to 30 minutes to cook. This wild rice will take about 45 minutes to cook. So we're just going to roast our butternut squash at the same time, and the squash will likely be done before the rice. And then when we're done, we're going to add this all together with some pomegranate seeds, some red onion, parsley. We're going to make a really nice fresh vinaigrette to go over it. And you're just going to see how beautiful it looks on a platter for when you serve a holiday meal. Okay? So just, nice chunks. You want to keep them fairly uniform, right? As we know, we want to try to do that to keep things cooking, you know, evenly. Obviously, if you have something that's misshapen like a butternut squash, the larger it is, the more uneven the pieces, you know, possibly would be. But that's okay. If you have a little bit overcooked versus undercooked, would rather have that because then it'll just kind of blend into the rice. All right, so I'm just putting this on a baking dish. This guy's a little bit too big. And then we're going to drizzle some olive oil, about 2 tablespoons, and get some salt and pepper, because we don't want to over season, right? Because this is going to be mixed in and it's going to have all those added flavors. So this is just pretty basic, just salt and pepper seasoning. And then take the spoon, just kind of mix it up. Whoop, man down. Oh my gosh, everyone's trying to escape the pool today. It's fine. We'll just get our hands. That's why. Usually I just use my hands. I was trying to be civilized for you guys, but, you know, get messy. That's what makes it fun. All right, so we'll do that. And then we're going to basically just cook the rice to directions, right? Rice is one of those things that generally has to cook a certain way. And it'll be, you know, according to the directions. Oh, I dyed my hand orange there. All right, so we're going to do 1 cup of rice for the directions. And when it fluffs out, right, it's going to make about 2.5 cups. And then we're going to do 2 cups of water. And we're just going to add this on top of the stove. And let's give it a little stir. And when we put it on the stove, we're going to bring it up to a boil. And then once it starts boiling, we're going to cover it and turn it down onto a simmer and just let it cook for 45 minutes, okay? So we're going to pop these in the oven at 400 degrees at the same time, and we'll come back when they're both done. Okay, so we're back. The rice is done cooking. So that 1 cup of rice really gave us about 2.5 cups of cooked rice, right? So you don't need a lot, which is why rice is one of the very super sustainable grains that you can have in your household, because it keeps forever and a little bit goes a really long way. So this is going to be a side dish, right? You're going to be sharing it. If you wanted to make it a main meal, I mean, you probably could. There's a ton of protein in this rice as well as obviously your fiber and your carbs. So if you wanted to eat it by itself, you would probably be just as full. But this is, you know, good to share for this purposes. Our butternut squash is also done roasting. You can see it got a really nice color of caramelization on here. And we're just going to add everything else together to put it all together for this dish. So we're going to be chopping up, this is a very big red onion, so we are only going to be doing half of what we need. And we will cover this guy up and save him for later. And then, you know, red onion is just one of those things that if you cook it raw, or you keep it raw, I should say, it's a very pungent bite. But it goes really well with these flavors because you're going to have a little bit of sweetness from the vinaigrette that we're going to be making, and it really helps bring some nice contrast to this dish. So you do want to make very small bites, right? Because nobody wants to take a giant bite of a red onion, or a raw onion, I should say, even of the white kind. So you're going to chop them up nice and small to go with the rice, because it's a rice dish, right? Rice is small bits. So that's all we need for that. So that's going to go right in. Okay. This is also going to be a very colorful dish, and I love colorful dishes because usually the more color you have in a dish, the more vitamins you have, the more antioxidants that are there, and it just really changes the dynamic of the whole aesthetic, obviously, as well. All right, now we're going to take this pomegranate. Now, I'm going to show you guys, there's a couple of ways that I've seen a pomegranate be used. One method that I've seen a lot of people that's never really worked for me is to smack it on the back with a wooden spoon. Like, you just tap it out. Oh, look, it is working a little bit. But to me, this would just take forever. And, like, I don't have time for all of that. So the way that I do it is I take a bowl of water and I just break it up in the bowl of water and I peel it. And what you're looking for is, because even when you take off the peels, you just run your fingers through it and the white part floats and the seeds, they sink. So that's how they separate. So you don't have to worry about, if a little bit of the inside rind gets into the bowl, it just floats and then you can just ignore it or take it out before, skim the water before you actually, oh, we lost the seed, man down. Don't worry, he won't escape, I promise you that. And then it just makes it, to me, this is just so much faster than smacking a pomegranate, thanks babe, from the back and, taking forever. I don't know, maybe I just don't have the muscle for it. Maybe other people are stronger than I am and they'll be able to smack it faster. I don't know. You could try both ways, see what works for you. But you see, so now it's basically all gone. And look, see how it floats like that? So you don't have to worry about getting all of those bits into your dish. Now I want about a half a cup of pomegranate seeds. And usually for a big one like this, a half of a pomegranate would be enough. So I'm just going to throw those in there. And then, see, let's take out the tops part here. See how easy that is? Just really helps. And then, yeah, half of this pomegranate is going to be perfect. And I'll use the other half for just snacking. I love pomegranate seeds, especially when they're in season in the fall. They're just so bright and just really give a nice pop. I love when they are just so crisp and they pop in your mouth. It's so delish. And then obviously when they're not in season, I love pomegranate juice, which, I get at the store. So, all right. So that's about half a cup of pomegranate in there in the dish. And then we're going to throw a little bit of parsley, and from my living garden, my living herb garden that I love inside the house. I have some herbs that I also grow outside, but the ones I use a lot, I try to keep inside because I use them a lot. The other ones I use more sparingly, like sage and oregano and stuff. No, oregano I use a ton, but that is a highly proliferative herb in my garden. It's almost taken over a part of the section. I'm going to have to figure out how to keep that from taking over everything because it's very, very robust. Okay. And then we are going to throw, our butternut squash in. So we're just going to push all these guys in just like that. It's okay if you get some of the oil in. It's just olive oil, and we're going to be making a vinaigrette anyways with olive oil. So it's not like you're going to be adding like an additional flavor that's not already in the dish. Okay. And then we're going to add some pecans. This is going to add a little bit of crunch and texture to the rice. It's actually a wonderful addition. It's very, it just gives a different, kind of peak and experience for the bite. Gives it a little bit more toothiness. And then, so about a quarter cup of pecans are going to go in there. And then the vinaigrette we're going to make, I'm going to do it in a jar. This is my favorite way of doing some kind of vinaigrette just because it's easy to shake. If you have, it's a reusable jar. We're going to do about a quarter cup of olive oil. We're going to put this whole lemon squeeze in. And I just love it because it's just easy for us to mix up. Now you could do this maybe with vinegar as well if you don't have a lemon. If you have vinegar, which obviously is more sustainable in the pantry. But I think lemon works really well. It just doesn't overpower like vinegar can sometimes, but that's just me. And then I'm going to do this last bit of honey that I have here. It's going to be about 1.5 teaspoons from my cousin's honey farm in Texas, the Denman Homestead. I know some of you are also viewers of theirs. So I'm very sad that honey is gone. I'm going to have to get more from them. And then I'm just going to put about 1/2 teaspoon of pepper and about another 1/2 teaspoon of salt. Okay. And then this is the fun part. Just go and shake it up. I like to have my daughter shake things up like this, but you gotta watch them because when they're tiny, things will just go flying out of their hands, you know? But this is the best way, I think, to make a nice vinaigrette. See how creamy that looks? Really nice. And we're just gonna pour this over. Oop, don't know my own strength. I tightened it too tight. We're just gonna pour this over our dish, just like that. Okay? And then we're gonna give it a mix. And we're just gonna blend all those beautiful colors and flavors into the rice. And the rice is going to absorb some of that vinaigrette, right, especially if it's still warm. So that's a nice time to put it in. And just really so beautiful. The colors I love. If you're serving this family style, you take a nice platter here and just dump it all out. Oh, get those pomegranates in there. Right? Just beautiful like that. And this is how you would serve on your holiday table, guys. A nice, beautiful holiday side. You could throw a little fresh herb on top for some aesthetics. Look at that. Oh my gosh. Looks so good. All right, I'm going to taste it now. A little bit of the crunchiness from the pecans, the bite of the pomegranate seeds. Everything is just so bright and flavorful. Even though it's a fall dish, you get that fall flavor, but it's not heavy. You know, it's not like a traditional heavy dish in the winter time, right? It's very light. Really goes well with a nice roasted turkey or a roasted chicken, some Cornish hens. So I hope you guys try it. If you want more recipes like this, don't forget to like and subscribe to my channel. And we'll see you on the next one. Bye.